A client looks at the job that you're trimming, you're hedging, it takes 2 hours, and they say, how could you possibly charge that much? If you're thinking that way as a client or a new gardener entering the game, you're missing the other half that where all the money disappears. G'day viewers, Jeff McPhee's Gardening, Melbourne, Australia. Getting a little bit tired of the story about us whipping clients off. The last couple of videos, we've got quite a few comments and I really enjoyed it. It stirred up a bit of a hornet's nest and yeah, got tons and tons of views, more than I normally get. So it's obviously a subject that's dear to a lot of people's heart. So in today's video, I'm going to lay it in very simple terms. What the client sees and what the new gardener doesn't charge. Let's paint two pictures. The client sees you do the job in 2 hours and they go, how easy is that? What easy money is that gardener making? And then you got the new gardener, the new contractor, walks up, oh, it's a 2-hour job, I'm going to charge, but I'm going to make a killing out of this, I'm happy. Well, they've both got it wrong. So today's video, I'm going to wrap what's around that, what a lot of clients don't see and what a lot of gardeners miss out, what they're not charging for, why they might be going broke. So we're going to do a hedge trim of a hedge. Now, before we even start, before we even leave our house, we've got to check all our equipment. Make sure we've got all everything in place. The amount of equipment that we have, the amount of cost involved, in my case, batteries, thousands of dollars worth of batteries, trimmers, hedges, whips, mowers, line trimming cord, the whole works. There's a lot of aspects about running a professional gardening business, and it's important that the client and the new gardener understand that to have all those facilities, have all that equipment that you need to be able to cover your costs, that's part of running the business. So then we've got the drive to the job. It might be 10 minutes, 5, you might be lucky, it could be 40 minutes. The wear and tear of your ute, your trailer, your car, your running costs, your petrol, your insurances, all these add up. All these are taking into account in running the cost of your business. The price of petrol, stuck in traffic, you're losing time, and especially if you have a helper, he's sitting in the vehicle and you're paying while he's sitting there, and the traffic's getting heavier and heavier and it's taking longer and longer to get to the job. And then finally you're on the job, you're actually starting, and this is where the client looks out the window and he sees, the 2 hours watching you work, and they think that's the end of it. And you're away trimming the hedge professionally, making sure that it's shaped right, using top quality equipment. So you finish the trimming and the client thinks, he's finished. Well, you're not. You've got to clean up, you've got to rake up, you've got to clean all the paths down because it doesn't disappear by itself. You've got to load up that trailer, lug it all onto the ute, pack up all your equipment, and then off you go. You probably have to go to the tip. So there's tip fees involved, there's time going to the tip, which the client's not seeing. And then once you've finished that, you're on your way home. So by the time you've done all that, you've spent 2 hours hedging. That's what the client sees. That's what the new gardener thinks, it's only going to take me 2 hours, that's what I'm going to charge for. But it's probably taking you 3.5 hours, a little bit more maybe, by the time you go to the tip, you're travelling, you're packing, you're unpacking, all those extra bits and pieces that the client and the new gardener doesn't consider. And we haven't even got down to talking about the actual running costs of the business, the other things that you have to do when you get home, the unbillable hours, the stuff that the client doesn't see, or maybe the new gardener doesn't consider, doesn't charge for, doesn't allow in their running costs. And then when you get home, recharging batteries, refueling. The longest, tedious task I find is cleaning down the hedges, sharpening them on a regular basis, keeping the equipment up to 100% sound. It is so important to treat the equipment because it's the one that makes you the money. It's important that maintenance is delivered on a regular basis. All these takes time. It takes many times. And of course, once all that's done, you've got everything ready for the next day. You've got your administration. your invoicing, your tax obligations, your bookwork, all that takes time. And again, all unbillable and all what the client doesn't see. So for the ones that says, gee, that's expensive for 2 hours work, that's the only bit you actually see. You don't see all those other things I've just mentioned. And as a new gardener, this is where a lot of new gardeners go broke. They charge only for the work that they do. They don't allow for the running costs of the business. And that's where they find themselves in difficulty. So for those clients out there watching this video, we're not trying to rip you off. We're trying not to go broke. We're trying to be there for you in years to come. We're trying to do the job professionally. Yes, I hear the comment, oh, anybody can trim hedges, mow lawns. You know, it's not rocket science. You don't have to be a brain surgeon. Of course not. But you're running a business. And if you want to be around in a few years' time, and if you want that contractor coming back, that's why they have to charge a bit more to cover all their running costs. And as I say, anybody can mow a lawn or hedge, but not everybody can run a successful business. And as a new gardener, it's so important to consider all these aspects, because this is why new clients, that if these guys out there are not charging for what they're worth for covering the cost of the business, they're not going to be there when you ring them up next year, because they're going to be doing something else because it hasn't worked for them. Contractors, you cover your costs when you consider quoting for a job, when you're doing a job, or you're just quoting for when you're there. We want to be nice. We want to be, fair and charge fairly, which I believe most of us do. But for that 2 hours we talked about, there's a lot more than just being on site. Love to hear your comments. Pretty touchy subject, but really interesting. And I think people appreciate that what we're trying to do is put ourselves on a pedestal where we can continually have our business running successfully, continually to roll up year after year, to service the customers, to provide high quality work. And you can only do this by considering the whole job, not just the 2 hours, but the whole job. Please subscribe if you're just new to the channel, and the comments, of course. The last couple of videos have been blown out of the sky with great comments. I enjoyed every comment, even the ones that were criticising. They had some good points as well. So don't hold back. Give us everything you've got. Really enjoy it. See you on the next one. Bye.